The power of the skeletons continuously flowed into the soul, and the level of Lin Moyu's power realm continued to rise. Finally, the soul has reached its limit, the real limit. Just a little more, and the soul will burst on the spot. Even in this state, it cannot be maintained for too long. At the same time, the two original spells were activated, and without external supplements, they would not have lasted for too long. With Lin Moyu's current strength, it takes less than 2 minutes. Now his realm has reached the peak of the God King realm. Maybe it is a bit worse than the real God King realm peak in terms of lore, but not too much. Not much time, within a second or two of Lin Moyu's ascension, the black hole snake ancestor had already looked at the skeleton general. In its eyes, the skeleton god will be like dust. Only the 10,000-meter tall skeleton king might be able to offer some tooth offerings. However, the black hole snake ancestor is obviously not interested in skeletons with no flesh and blood and no breath of life. This is also one of the reasons why it ignored the skeletons before. In its eyes, a lifeless skeleton is like a pile of carrion. It is better to eat some materials. If the skeletons hadn't provoked it, it would have been too lazy to take care of it. It turned its head, looked at these dust-like existences, and opened its mouth to let out a sharp cry. The cry contains a powerful soul attack, killing all areas. In Lin Moyu's soul world, the phantom of the black hole snake ancestor appeared again, and the soul attack shook the soul world. The skeleton gods collapsed one after another, and more than half of the millions of skeleton gods were directly killed or injured. The soul attack is so terrifying, and it also clearly tells Lin Moyu that in front of the real strong, the number does not necessarily play a role. But Lin Moyu also deeply felt the weakness of the black hole snake ancestor. If the black hole snake ancestor attacked this time before the split, the skeleton god would not have a living. The black hole snake ancestor seemed to have done a trivial thing, and after roaring, he turned his head again and ignored him. It wants to return to the black hole, have a good sleep, and sleep for 1,000 or 800 years. At this time, another sword light lit up, and the skeleton king made a move. Its slaying sword aimed at the head of the black hole snake ancestor. In the sword light, the black hole snake ancestor's head turned slightly, and then turned back again. Lin Moyu saw the anger in its eyes, and let it be eaten by the skeleton king's sword. In the vision of the undead, on the head of the black hole snake ancestor, a few scales were cracked, revealing some liquid of unknown color. It should be its blood. Efficient. With the blessing of the strength soldiers technique, the skeleton king's attack power has reached at least the peak of the 7th level god king, and may even reach the threshold of the 8th level god king. Lin Moyu can't make an accurate judgment, but it doesn't matter. The important thing is that the skeleton king's attack injured the black hole snake ancestor. The black hole snake ancestor opened his mouth wide in anger. A huge suction force was generated, and the newly resurrected skeleton generals flew towards the black hole snake ancestor uncontrollably. With a move in Lin Moyu's heart, the skeleton god will disappear instantly and be taken back by him. The skeleton king is not affected by the suction. Lin Moyu unfolded the wings of the dead, and took the huge bone sword from the skeleton king. The huge bone rapidly became smaller, and when it was held in Lin Moyu's hand, it was no different from an ordinary long sword. The skeleton king's bone sword has no additional functions, but it is strong enough and sharp enough, comparable to the magic weapon of the god king realm. At least it can withstand the power of Lin Moyu. Kill god. The sword light on the black hole snake ancestor exploded brightly, the scales cracked, and the black hole snake ancestor uttered a sound in pain. This time there was no soul attack, but a scream of pain. The sound also spread throughout the starry sky in the form of the sound of the soul. This sound can be heard in almost half of the 7 to 77 area. The anger in the eyes of the black hole snake ancestor became even stronger. This humble little guy actually injured it again. Its body twisted, and its huge tail swept over at an astonishingly fast speed. Lin Moyu shook the wings of the dead, trying to cut off the soul lock. At this moment, bloody red light appeared in the eyes of the black hole snake ancestor. Lin Moyu's soul roared, and his whole body froze suddenly. The black hole snake ancestor showed a new method. Its soul attack can be issued not only with sound, but also with eyes. The roar is all round, but the soul attack of the eyes is for a single target. The soul attack of the eyes is stronger, and even Lin Moyu is affected. Outside the soul world, the phantom of the black hole snake ancestor appeared again, and it was also a scarlet light, hitting the crystal barrier like a sharp arrow. The crystal barrier blocked most of the soul attacks, but a small part of the attacks penetrated the soul barrier and attacked the soul. Purple light emerged from the skin of the soul, and together with the soul clothes, a solid line of defense was established. The soul attack was blocked, but the soul also paused for a while. The whole process happens in an instant, no more than 0.1 seconds before and after. But 0.1 second is enough for a strong person in this realm to do many things. After Lin Moyu came back to his senses, the wind howled, and the tail of the black hole snake ancestor was close at hand. Lin Moyu had no chance to evade, so he could only carry it hard. The field of law quickly retracted to surround the whole body, and after the skeleton armor flashed, it shattered in an instant. Then Lin Moyu was swept by the giant tail and flew towards Yuan Chen with a whoosh. The blow of the black hole snake ancestor is enough to smash the stars, and the power is so great that it is unimaginable. It's not just a pure physical attack, it contains the power of law. The law quickly and instantly absorbed the strength and vitality of Lin Moyu's whole body, and then the law exploded, using Lin Moyu's own strength and vitality to attack Lin Moyu. The whole process is like a black hole absorbing light and matter. After a certain level, the black hole collapses, and all the things it absorbs will be spit out. When it is sucked in, the speed is not fast, and when it is spit out, it is like a cannonball, and the field is terrible. This is the law of black holes, a terrifying law that ranks in the first echelon. The skeletons in the magic star collapsed quickly, again and again, and collapsed 4 times in a row before stopping. This blow also contained the ability of soul tracking, vowing to kill Lin Moyu. Antares once said that soul tracking is a common attack method in the big world. But Lin Moyu discovered this after entering the big world. Not to mention the super god realm, even many true god realms don't know how to use soul tracking. Now Lin Moyu has finally experienced what is soul tracking: 1 attack, several damages, the purpose is to kill the target. It's not that no one will use soul tracking, but supergods and true gods won't use it. Antares' vision is too high, what he said should be those people above the god-king realm. Lin Moyu was sent flying hundreds of thousands of kilometers before barely regaining control of his body. At this moment, a huge and incomparable suction acted on him, and his body flew towards the black hole snake ancestor uncontrollably. The snake of the black hole opened its mouth, as if it contained a black hole in its mouth, and pulled Lin Moyu back abruptly, at a speed almost exceeding Lin Moyu's own speed. Undead wings vibrated crazily and fought against the suction, buying Lin Moyu a little time. The sword light was on, and Lin Moyu slashed out again, aiming at the black hole snake's mouth. At the same time, he pointed out with his left hand, and the sky was full of red light. After a sword strike, Lin Moyu didn't look at the result, and a phantom bow appeared in front of him. The illusory bow is composed of laws, and the soul force pulls the bowstring, and shoots an arrow. Borrowing the technique of the skeleton soul shooter, supplemented by the curse of time, it has a double attack on the soul. The black hole snake ancestor is good at soul attack, but it doesn't mean its soul defense is strong, it's 2 different things. Lin Moyu is not sure, so have to try. The soul attack came first, almost at the same time as the sword of Zhanshan. The black hole snake ancestor trembled all over, the sword light in his mouth lit up, and the huge snake letter was almost cut off. The whole body trembled violently and let out a hoarse scream. Its soul defense is not strong, and Lin Moyu's soul attack can cause a lot of damage to it. Under the attack, Lin Moyu had already rushed to the side of the black hole snake ancestor, and the bone sword in his hand slashed down like a storm. The scale armor shattered and turned into countless fragments, which exploded at the bone sword. Skeletor's sword, sharp enough and strong enough for Lin Moyu to attack without fear of splintering. The black hole snake ancestor came back to his senses, let out a roar, and another wave of soul attacks. At the same time, his body trembled violently, the scales all over his body opened, and a strong black light burst out. The black AWNS interweaved 16 into a dense and large net, which opened violently. Lin Moyu's complexion changed slightly, he raised his bone sword to block in front of him, and collided with Haimang. A huge force came from the sword, knocking Lin Moyu into the air. At the part where the bone sword touches the black light, Lin Moyu felt the power that belongs to the law of the black hole. At that moment of contact, I lost a lot of strength, and my body felt a burst of weakness. The law of the black hole can devour strength and vitality. The moment he touched it just now, the law of the black hole swallowed part of his strength. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the power of the skeletons flowed over, replenishing his consumption in an instant. The scales of the black hole snake ancestor broke away from the body one after another, flying off in pieces, just like an animal shedding its skin, and there was no more scale armor on the black hole snake ancestor. Hundreds of millions of scales are interwoven by the law of black holes, forming a big ball, like a brand new black hole. The black hole law broke out, and the big ball produced a terrifying suction force, absorbing everything in the surrounding millions of kilometers. At the same time, the black ball began to spin violently, the black glow on the ball was like a sharp sword, and the entire black ball became a cutter. Everything that is sucked over will be cut into pieces by the black orn. Lin Moyu tried his best to resist the suction, and was slowly pulled over. The black hole snake ancestor's control over the laws of the black hole completely surpassed Lin Moyu, a half-bad guy. No matter how strong Lin Moyu is, his true cultivation is the 7th level of the true God. The comprehension of the law is only at the level of the 7th level of the true God. Single fight rule, Lin Moyu was completely defeated. The law of black holes is also the law of the first echelon. Even if it is weaker than the law of immortality, it can't go anywhere. Lin Moyu felt that he had completely misjudged the combat power of the black hole snake ancestor. Even though it was in a weak state, it still had a terrifying combat power that surpassed the peak of the God King. Lin Moyu feels that in its heyday, it can completely compete with the gods. Even now, he can completely abuse all the God Kings. Looking at the black ball that is getting closer and closer, if it is sucked to it, it must be smashed to pieces. Even if resurrected, he just died again. Lin Moyu tried his best to throw the bone sword in his hand, and the Skeleton King came to catch the bone sword in response. The bone sword quickly became larger, exceeding 10,000 meters. The Skeleton King waved the bone sword with both hands, first swung a strike to kill the gods, and then accelerated towards the black ball, hitting the black ball one step ahead of Lin Moyu. The light of the Zhanshan Yijian erupted on the black ball, and the black ball in the violent rotation suddenly stopped, and there was a weak pause. The Skeleton King took the opportunity to pounce on the black ball, regardless of the black light falling on his body. The bone sword in his hand was placed on the black ball like crazy. Lin Moyu felt that the suction force on his body had weakened a lot, so he seized the opportunity, the undead wings shook, and the whole person jumped over the black ball and approached the black hole snake ancestor. The black hole snake ancestor didn't have the protection of the pitch black scales, but the smooth snake skin was exposed. Although the defense was not weak, it was still much worse than the scales. Its tricks are very strong, but it also has fatal flaws. The black hole snake ancestor looked at Lin Moyu, with a bloody red light in his eyes, and launched a soul attack again. At the same time, the giant tail whipped over like a whip, exactly the same as the previous attack. Lin Moyu's soul power exploded in full force, and the giant tree of talent stretched out from the soul world. When the phantom of the black hole snake ancestor just appeared, thousands of branches had already been whipped up. The 9-colored dragon's soul crystal also came out, coordinating with the giant tree of talent to attack the phantom of the black hole snake ancestor. The soul attack of the black hole snake ancestor was shattered before it took shape. Soul attacks have always had two sides. Once it is cracked, the one who gets hurt is yourself. The black hole snake's soul shook, and it fell into a state of trance for a while, and even the whipping of its tail limply stopped. This state will not last long, at most half a second. Half a second is already a very rare opportunity. A million skeleton gods will appear in the starry sky, and at the same time swing sword energy towards the head of the black hole snake. A piece of flesh appeared in Lin Moyu's hand, which was the flesh and blood of the second clone of the abyssal dragon demon. The second avatar of the abyssal dragon demon is the god Venerable. Although he doesn't know the specific realm, Lin Moyu feels that it will not be weaker than the 5th level of the god Venerable. As for the snake in the black hole in front of him, if he reached the sky, he would be the first rank of the god, and even less than the god, otherwise he would not be injured by himself. The identity of the starry sky behemoth gave it a strong vitality. If Lin Moyu directly used the flesh and blood of the abyssal dragon demon in its heyday, it might not be able to blow it to death. But now it is in a weak state, and it was wounded by itself again, and its scales were separated from its body. Lin Moyu felt that the opportunity had come. The feeling of danger came, and the black hole snake ancestor came back to his senses, and let out a loud cry. But it was too late. The flesh and blood of the abyssal dragon demon in Lin Moyu's hand exploded. Della spell, corpse explosion. In the next second, Lin Moyu saw an incredible picture. The starry sky shattered. In the tens of thousands of kilometers of starry sky where the black hole snake ancestor is located, dense spider-like cracks appeared like glass, and then shattered. The head of the black hole snake ancestor and the body tens of thousands of kilometers away were also blasted to pieces along with the space. At least half of the 100,000 kilometer long body 227 of the black hole snake ancestor was blown up. Lin Moyu was a little shocked. Is this what a high-ranking deity looks like when he strikes with all his strength? The corpse exploded and detonated the flesh and blood of the abyssal dragon demon, which was equivalent to a full blow of the second clone of the abyssal dragon demon at its peak state. After various bonuses, it is even stronger than a full blow. It directly smashed the starry sky, revealing the mysterious world behind the starry sky. A brilliant ray of light flashed before his eyes, and then a violent energy flow rushed out from the gap in the world. Lin Moyu was overturned immediately and flew tens of thousands of kilometers upside down. The flesh and blood of the black hole snake ancestor was also overturned, and the broken corpse was blown everywhere. The same is true for the million skeleton generals, who flew out uncontrollably. The scene became chaotic for a while, and Lin Moyu saw a shining object like a scroll in his eyes. Military star map. Recognizable at a glance, this is the military star map. Lin Moyu shook the undead wings, flew retrograde in the chaotic energy impact, and grabbed the military star map with all his strength. The gap in the starry sky that was blown out was quickly smoothed and disappeared by the rules of the big world. In the starry sky, apart from the ubiquitous flesh and blood, the half-corpse of the black hole snake ancestor, and the black ball made of scales. The black ball has shattered and turned into countless scales, floating in the starry sky like garbage. Damn you. Before he could heave a sigh of relief, suddenly an angry shout resounded through the starry sky. The angry voice came from the black hole, and a chill rose from Lin Moyu's back. The coolness spread, quickly spreading from the back to the whole body. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt the threat of death. He was very sure that this murderous roar came from the bottomless pit in the center of the black hole. When he was staring at the big pit, he felt fatal danger. If he dared to jump in and explore the mysteries of the pit, he would surely die. In addition to opportunities, there are also various dangers hidden in the battlefield. There are some dangers, even if the gods come across them, they will fall. For countless years, there are not a few gods who have fallen on the battlefield. Lin Moyu didn't even think about it, put away the military star map, shook the wings of the undead, and fled without looking back. Suddenly a suction fell on him. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't take another step forward. The suction in the black hole became stronger and stronger, spreading rapidly to the whole body, making Lin Moyu unable to move. This force pulled Lin Moyu and flew towards the black hole. Lin Moyu seemed to see the big pit in the black hole, and he was grinning at himself. The existence in the big pit seems to tear itself into pieces. If he enters the black hole, Lin Moyu knows that he will definitely die, and no one can save him. A voice suddenly sounded in the soul: if you kill the deity's pet, then you can accompany the deity. The sound made Lin Moyu's hair stand on end. Lin Moyu gritted his teeth. Stop with me. He looked at the flesh and blood of the black hole snake ancestor flying back together with him, and with a slight movement of his fingers, an immortal flame barely popped out. Stellar spells, dead risen. The flames quickly surrounded the flesh and blood of the black hole snake ancestor, and the black hole snake ancestor was reborn with flesh and blood, and his soul was reorganized. In less than 2 seconds, the black hole snake ancestor reappeared in the starry sky. But this time, the black hole snake ancestor became Lin Moyu's resurrection. At the moment when the black hole snake ancestor was resurrected, Lin Moyu felt that the attraction from the black hole was a little less. The black hole snake ancestor blocked Lin Moyu with his huge body, blocking most of the attraction. The body finally regained a part of freedom. Lin Moyu took out the jade tablet Zhu Qiwu gave him without thinking about it, and crushed it vigorously. The jade tablet burst into brilliant light, covering Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu disappeared in the light. The target fled, and an angry roar came from the black hole again, and the sound resounded throughout the Area 7 to 77. All the living beings in the Area 7 to 77, at this moment, their collective souls are destroyed, and they die completely. Area 7 to 77 became a real dead place, cemetery in an instant. In Outpost No. 7 to 77, Zhu Qiwu and others are waiting. 10 minutes ago, Hua Yuhang's team had already returned, and now they were waiting for Lin Moyu. Suddenly Zhu Kewu's eyelids twitched a few times, and he received a piece of information from Renwang Network. The whole person trembled violently, with horror on his face. Fortunately, no one was around him, and no one noticed his expression. He murmured, "What is in the black hole, tilde? Quote, Tinky boy, nothing will happen." As soon as the voice fell, the teleportation array lit up. Zhu Kewu looked over immediately, and when they acted, the teleportation array at the outpost was closed. No one has the right to use the teleportation array. Lin Moyu's teleportation jade tablet is connected to the teleportation array. In the light, the figure of Lin Moyu appeared. Seeing this, Zhu Kewu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Lin Moyu stood motionless in the teleportation array, and after a while, a purple light appeared on his body. After his soul came back, it collapsed. This is the sequelae caused by Zhu Li technique beyond the limit. Then the soul was reborn under the full rebirth talent, and returned to its peak state, even stronger than before. When killing the black hole snake ancestor, the Zhu Li technique absorbed part of the soul power of the black hole snake ancestor, nourishing the soul like a great tonic. Let Lin Moyu's realm take another step forward, not far from the 8th level of the true God. After being fully reborn, Lin Moyu still stood motionless in the teleportation array with the joy of escaping from birth. With his eyes slightly closed, his consciousness spanned an infinite distance and connected to the consciousness of the black hole snake ancestor. Although it is impossible to directly connect to the corresponding field of vision like the undead, there is still no problem with simple consciousness connection. Through the consciousness feedback of the black hole snake ancestor, he can also get a lot of information. It's a pity that the black hole snake ancestor's intelligence is not high, and the feedback information is messy. Lin Moyu feels that the black hole snake ancestor has come to another world. This world is very cold, no temperature. This is the world in the pit. Where is the big pit? Lin Moyu thought in his heart, and then he felt a gigantic hand resting on the black hole snake ancestor. The black hole snake ancestor is 100,000 kilometers long, and its head alone is thousands of kilometers long. But such a big head can be held by that giant hand. It's hard to imagine how big the owner of that giant hand must be. The giant hand stroked the head of the black hole snake ancestor, seemingly very gentle, but in the next second, he suddenly pinched the head of the black hole snake ancestor. Then the black hole snake ancestor's head was crushed, and the consciousness was disconnected. The black hole snake ancestor is dead, and after becoming a resurrection, the black hole snake ancestor's strength will return to its peak state. At least the black hole snake ancestor, who was comparable to a god, died like this. The powerful existence in that big pit, the master of the black hole snake ancestor, killed the black hole snake ancestor so easily. How strong should he be? Lin Moyu disconnected his consciousness, opened his eyes slowly, and saw Zhu Kewu not far away. Zhu Kewu was looking at himself with questioning eyes. After panting just now, Lin Moyu has completely calmed down. Walk over in 2 or 3 steps, take out the military star map and hand it to Zhu Kewu. Senior, the star map is back. Quote, Zhu Kewu took the military star map and did not rush to open it, but looked at Lin Moyu. Are you in danger? Lin Moyu nodded. I almost couldn't come back. Zhu Kewu said in a deep voice, tell me in detail. Before, he received information from Human Emperor Network, and knew that there was a terrifying existence hidden in Area 7 to 77. No more information. If you want to know more details, you still have to ask Lin Moyu, the person involved. With a flick of Zhu Kewu's finger, the invisible power of law enveloped the two of them. What Lin Moyu said, only he could hear. Okay Zhao, Lin Moyu told all his previous experiences, including how he killed the black hole snake ancestor. There is no need to hide this point, including the 2 original techniques. The Dr. Jiongwu knows it all. After listening to Lin Moyu's words, Zhu Kewu remained silent, pondered for a moment before speaking. According to what you described, the black hole snake ancestor should have the strength of a half-step god. Lin Moyu hummed, about that many people. A half-step god, not as good as a god, but also far superior to an ordinary god king. Some people refer to the half-step god as the peak of the god king, but they all mean the same thing. There is a big gap between the divine king realm and the divine prestige realm. If the divine king realm reaches its limit, but does not reach the divine prestige realm, that is the peak of the divine king, also known as the half-step divine venerable. Lin Moyu's power had reached the peak of the god king before, but because of the lack of laws, he was not as good as the black hole snake ancestor. If his laws are as strong as the black hole snake ancestor, then there is no need to be afraid of the black hole snake ancestor. The black hole snake ancestor is just a pet. What level of power do you think he is? Facing Zhuge Wu's question, Lin Moyu pondered for a few seconds and smiled wryly. You are embarrassing me a bit. With my experience, how can I tell the other party's level? It's not bad to be able to escape with your life this time. If it wasn't for the jade card you gave me, senior, this junior would definitely have died inside. Zhuge Wu smiled. He knew that Lin Moyu was telling the truth. It's really unexpected that there are people above the black hole snake ancestor. Zhuge Wu's eyes were shining brightly, and Lin Moyu seemed to see a strong fighting spirit. Looking at his appearance, he seems to be very interested in the existence in the big pit. Lin Moyu feels that medical insurance is no worse than that terrible existence. At most, it's about the same. No reason, purely a feeling. After a while, the fighting spirit in Zhuge Wu's eyes disappeared. Unfortunately, because of the rules, the old man can't go in, and he can't come out either. Hearing this, Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. From the looks of it, Shen Qiwu knew the other party's identity somewhat. Even if you don't know the identity of the other party, you should know the origin of the other party, otherwise you won't say such a thing. But Lin Moyu also knew that even if he asked, Zhuge Wu would not tell him. My own strength is too bad, I don't need to know so much. Zhu 670 Qiwu changed the subject. It is a great achievement to successfully retrieve the military star map this time, and the reward is indispensable to you. Lin Moyu said, this is what juniors should do. Lin Moyu said it very sincerely, and it is true. The military star map is very important to the human race. As long as possible, he will try his best to find it. And the reason why he dared to risk his life this time was because of the transmission jade token given by Zhuge Wu and the flesh and blood of the second clone of the abyssal dragon demon. This is his confidence to save his life. After all, there is only Area 7 to 77. No matter how strong the black hole snake ancestor is, it is impossible to be too strong. As for the existence in the black hole, it was an accident that no one could think of. Zhuge Wu looked at Lin Moyu. Are you very interested in the military star map, and think it has other uses? Sure enough, it was seen. Lin Moyu knew some of his own thoughts, but he couldn't hide it from the person in front of him. After all, he had lived for thousands of years, and he was old and mature. So Lin Moyu didn't hide too much at all. I'm really interested. If it's just a map, the demons wouldn't be so aggressive. Zhuge Wu smiled. Come on, let me show you, and ask him how he did it. There is something in the words, and there is another deep meaning. Lin Moyu didn't ask any more questions, and left with Zhuge Wu. The two came to the starry sky, and Zhuge Wu summoned his own car. A god-level battleship is comparable to the battleship of the God of War fortress. After entering the battleship was immediately sealed off, completely isolated from the outside world. Zhuge Wu held the military star map, slowly opened it, and then activated it. The military star map gloomed with bright light, projecting a holographic star map. This is the starry sky map of Suzaku Battlefield. Lin Moyu had seen it in Fort No. 1, but there are some more things on it, more detailed. At this time Zhuge Wu said, He Renxing, come out. Lin Moyu was taken aback for a moment, and Shen Qiwu was actually calling Lan Zhuxing. Wasn't He Renxing already killed by him? See it with your own eyes, you can't be wrong. A few seconds after Zhuge Wu's voice fell, there was no response in the holographic star chart. Zhuge Wu frowned slightly, and his tone became unfriendly. He Renxing, do you want me to do it myself? Wisps of murderous intent permeated the air, and finally there was a reaction in the holographic star chart. In the star map, a figure slowly emerged, then flew out of it, and finally left the military star map and appeared in the battleship. He Renxing left the military star map, and saluted Zhuge Wu respectfully. I have seen the Guardian. Lin Moyu was surprised. The person in front of him was really He Renxing. It's just that his aura is only the 6th level of God King. He Renxing is obviously a god, and he was killed by Zhuge Wu. Why is there a 6th level God Master Meng Zhuxing here? Clone. Lin Moyu was startled and thought of something. Zhuge Wu waved his hand. Say it, don't try to hide it, you know you can't hide it. He Renxing nodded. In front of guarding, he dare not hide anything. When he was in the realm of God, in a great battle, he was controlled by the bewitching demon and became a puppet. At that time, there were about 1,000 people who were controlled by the bewitching demon together with the old man. Quote, Later, the old man practiced and improved all the way, and finally reached the level of God, and became the elder of Fortress 7. The control of the bewitching demon is always there, and you know that even if the old man becomes a god, it will be difficult to get rid of it. This kind of control will erode the soul and cannot be betrayed. Having said that, He Renshing paused. Zhu Qiwu didn't interrupt him, but motioned him to continue talking. He Renshing continued, but you also know that the soul of the god is strong enough, and I also have my own ideas. Sometimes I will sink my soul into the galaxy of laws to cleanse my soul. I am the god of the human race. From the bottom of my heart, it is impossible for me to betray the human race. I will not betray the human race even if I die. But under the control of the bewitching demon, I can't do it even if I want to die. And the most troublesome thing is that I have no way to tell this matter. As long as I tell it, the bewitching demon will respond, and he will completely control my mind. With my combat strength, being caught off guard is enough to cause a devastating blow to the army in Fortress 7, so I can't say. Later, I searched for a lot of information, and finally let me find out a way to get rid of the demon of bewitching. I spent hundreds of years, found all kinds of rare materials, and finally refined a clone. Then I was in the galaxy of laws, and under the cleansing of the laws, I separated a third of my soul and injected it into the clone. With the protection of the law galaxy, 1/3 of the souls are pure and have not been polluted by the bewitching demon. And what I did in the galaxy of laws can't be detected by the bewitching. It just so happened that I was assigned to manage the military star map. The bewitching demon naturally knew about it, and he ordered me to steal the military star map. The military star map has to be stolen. I can't refuse it, and I can't tell others. But after I steal it, I can hide it and let no one know. The bewitching demon is too far away, it can't monitor me all the time. So I handed over the military star map to the Avatar, took it to Area 7 to 77, and entered the black hole. After the Avatar entered the black hole, it happened to meet the black hole snake ancestor, and was swallowed by it accidentally, so I hid in the military star map. Actually, from that moment on, the Avatar is my main body. The previous main body is bound to die. I guess it should die in your hands. But you acted too quickly, and didn't listen to me. Once I die, the bewitching demon can manipulate my soul and get information. Fortunately, this little brother can also manipulate the soul, otherwise it will be troublesome. After listening to the whole process, Lin Moyu felt really outrageous. This deity has been controlled since he was in the real God realm, and later he made various operations in order to save himself. Although he stole the military star map, there was a reason for the incident, and the human race was still in his heart. But in fact, he did steal the military star map, and dealing with him became a headache. At the same time, his last sentence made Zhu Qiwu a little embarrassed. Zhu Qiwu was a bit quick to start, at least let people finish the sentence, almost causing big trouble. With He Renshing's careful planning, there must be a way to tell Zhu Qiwu some information. The corner of Zhu Qiwu's mouth twitched, but he didn't say anything. Zhu Qiwu remained silent. Admit. It is impossible to admit a mistake. In his capacity, he said one thing and one thing in the Vermilion Bird battlefield, how could he be wrong? Lin Moyu made a sound at the right time to smooth things over. In short, the military star map has been recovered, let's let the past go. His words resolved Zhu Qiwu's embarrassment. Zhu Qiwu coughed lightly. This is the end of the matter. Although you have taken the military star map, you can't help yourself, and you have done your best to restore it. This matter is up to the guard and decides, don't care about it anymore, but you can't stay here any longer. As for what you're going to do next, go back to Fort 1 and wait for the old man's notice. He Ren followed Zhu Qiwu and saluted respectfully. Thank you, Lord Guardian. Zhu Qiwu said, I have notified Chief Marquis Chia that he will take you to apply for a new battlefield badge, but you'd better change your appearance, and people who know you are welcome. The Marquis Chief Chia mentioned by Zhu Qiwu was the regiment commander of Fortress 7. Zhu Qiwu would not be at ease in entrusting this kind of matter to others. In the eyes of many people, He Renshing is dead and should not appear again. Jia Renshing nodded, expressing his understanding. His appearance changed, and he became another person in the blink of an eye. This avatar is a refined puppet, strictly speaking, a real physical body. And for a strong person in the God-King realm, it is not difficult to change their appearance. He Renshing's appearance has changed, and his cultivation has also changed from a god to a 6th-level God-King. If he doesn't say it, no one will know that he is He Renshing. After changing the battlefield token, he is a brand new God King 6th rank powerhouse. 10 seconds later, the gate of the battleship opened automatically, and Commander Xiao was already waiting outside. He will take He Renxing to apply for a new battlefield token and re-register the information in Renwang's network. After changing everything, He Renxing became another person. It's a pity that 2/3 of his soul is missing, and it will be extremely difficult to return to practice unless there is a great opportunity. Looking at the background of He Renxing's departure, he felt a little lonely. Lin Moyu couldn't help heaving a long sigh, dignified, but it ended like this. Lin Moyu sighed sincerely. The big world is dangerous, and one step is wrong. Zhu Qiwu took a look at Lin Moyu and disagreed with his words. Sigh, this is already very good for him. And there is something wrong with what you said. It's not the case in the big world. It should be said that everything is the same. It doesn't matter whether you have embarked on the road of cultivation or not, it's the same. Wouldn't it be even worse for those who didn't cultivate, or even entered the big world, to die silently due to natural or man-made disasters for some reason? Lin Moyu asked, do you really plan to send him back to the Terran starfield? According to He Renxing himself, he has indeed tried his best to reduce the loss, and this time, the loss of the human race is indeed not too big. But these are all his one-sided remarks, and they cannot be fully believed. At least with Lin Moyu's understanding of the high-level people of the human race, it is impossible to completely trust He Renxing. Don't be afraid of 10,000, just in case. From the perspective of race, it is necessary to completely kill the case in the cradle, otherwise the consequences may be unimaginable. Zhu Qiwu did not answer, but instead asked, what do you think? If it were you, what would you do? Lin Moyu thought for a while. First, conduct a comprehensive inspection on him to ensure that he is really free from the control of the bewitching demon. I believe the human race must have a way to check it out. This is just the first step. Sometimes the control of the bewitching demon will affect the mind, so it is no longer suitable for serving in the military, and it is also not suitable for staying in the Vermilion Bird starfield. Try to arrange to go to a farther place and let him in live there. In the Terran star field, people can let the Emperor's network stare at him. Under normal circumstances, nothing major will happen. The satisfaction in Zhu Qiwu's eyes became more and more intense, and he praised without hesitation, yes, your idea is very good, we will indeed do this. You are quite suitable for the military. Are you interested in formally joining the army? Lin Moyu shook his head, forget it, I prefer a free life, and I'm also a soldier of honor, and I'm also a member of the military. Anyway, when I'm on the battlefield, I'm always there for you if you have something to do. He. Zhu Qiwu smiled and didn't force himself, it's up to you, anyway, it's all the same in the end. There seemed to be deep meaning in Zhu Qiwu's words. Lin Moyu remembered it secretly. Zhu Qiwu turned his gaze back to the holographic star map. All right, let me give you a formal demonstration of the real use of the military star map. Lin Moyu officially cheered up, causing the army of demons to come out in full force, and let the human race not hesitate to destroy the entire area. What kind of secrets are contained in the military star map that is desperately fighting for each other? As Zhu Qiwu continued to activate the star map unfolded like a scroll, and the projected picture became clearer and more complete. The holographic star map is fully unfolded, covering the entire space, and Lin Moyu seems to be in it. Ask for flowers. Blocks of areas are outlined, that is a piece of war zone, and each war zone is divided into various areas. Each area has its own shape, some are spherical, some are square, some are even flat rectangles, and more are irregular shapes. Compared with the star map seen in Fort 1, the star map in front of me is much more detailed. In addition to the divided areas, more locations are nameless voids. In the entire star map of Suzaku Battlefield, the nameless void occupies more than 80% of the area. Afterwards, star-like light spots lit up one by one, and there were 10 light spots, representing constellations from 1st to 10th. Among them, forts 1 to 6 are located at the outermost periphery of the battlefield, forming a circle around the battlefield. Forts 7 to 9 are like a triangle, located in the central area of the battlefield. And in the center of the battlefield, the brightest spot of light shines brightly. Point O. That is Fortress 10, and it is also the most powerful among all Starry Sky fortresses. Sheng Qiwu sits here all the year round. Starry Sky Fortress not only possesses powerful combat power, but also is a military base, with tens of millions of troops stationed in each fortress. Zhu Qiwu explained, the Starry Sky Fortress is different from the God of War Fortress. The God of War Fortress is a mobile military base, and its own combat power is not as good as the Starry Sky Fortress. The Starry Sky Fortress can also move, but it is too big and the speed is very slow, but the victory lies in its powerful combat power. Lin Moyu nodded slightly, he understood the difference. In terms of combat power, Starry Sky Fortress deserves to be number 1, followed by mobile fortresses like God of War Fortress, followed by battleships, God-level battleships, and God King-class battleships. These are the war weapons of the human race, very powerful. As for Zhu Qiwu's battleship, it is a special product, different from mass-produced war weapons, and cannot be ranked among them. After the appearance of the 10 Starry Sky Fortresses, more dots of light began to light up in the holographic star map. These dots of light were much smaller, representing outposts one after another. Each outpost corresponds to an area. A total of 931 light spots represent 931 outposts. So far, it's pretty normal. This is what Zhu Qiwu said to himself at the beginning, the star map can mark the location of the outpost. It is precisely because of this that both the demons and the human race will win the star map. But Lin Moyu feels that the role of the star map is more than that. Zhu Qiwu glanced at Lin Moyu, and tapped his finger on the star map, and the star map immediately burst into paralyzed light. Sun. The light illuminated the small space, and on the holographic star map, one light point after another appeared. These light spots, compared to the Starry Sky Fortress, the light spots of the outpost are much smaller, like glowing mosquitoes, flashing in the starry sky. There are more and more light spots densely packed, and there are light spots in almost every area. In the nameless void, there are relatively few light spots, but they are not completely absent. A small number of light spots are still, and most of them are moving. The holographic star map has been reduced by an unknown number of times. These light spots seem to move very slowly. If placed in a normal world, the speed is actually amazing. Lin Moyu didn't understand the meaning of these light spots for a while, but after only a few seconds, he suddenly knew what the light spots represented. Each point of light represents a human cultivator. The star map clearly marked the location of each human cultivator, and this marking was real-time. In most of the areas, the positions of the cultivators of the human race are very clear. Only a small number of special areas are not marked, probably because these areas have special rules. For example, the Shuojin area in the past was a closed world, and there was no way to mark the situation in the area on the star map. There are many other areas like this. But there are a total of 931 areas, and there are at least 800 areas, and the movement of human cultivators in it is very clear. Zhu Qiwu smiled, now I know why I value the military star map so much. Lin Moyu is not a fool, of course he can understand. The exposure of the outpost is already a big deal. If even the whereabouts of human cultivators are exposed, the demons can completely target them. Destroy the outpost first, then find the human cultivators on the battlefield and kill them one by one. It is self-evident how heavy the loss of the human race will be. Even if it is not done well, the human race will be completely wiped out of the Suzaku battlefield, and countless years of hard work will be ruined. Various materials are produced in the Suzaku battlefield, and these materials are very important for any race. Over time, it can greatly increase the combat effectiveness of the race. The cruelty of the big world is obvious to all, and every little bit of backwardness may be infinitely magnified. In order to survive, all ethnic groups never dare to take it lightly in the big world, and must strive to be the first step by step. Lin Moyu couldn't help asking, such an important thing should be strictly guarded. Zhu Qiwu put away the military star map, this was an accident, and it was a bit careless. After all, there have been no problems in the 10,000 years since the military star map was refined. The protection will be strengthened in the future. This kind of thing will only happen once, and there will be no second time. Lin Moyu didn't say anything. According to his thinking, this kind of thing should not happen even once. The military star map is a double-edged sword. If you have it in your hand, you can clearly locate the position of your own people. In case of any danger, it is very convenient for rescue and the like. If it falls into the enemy's hands, it will be a great weapon to kill one's own people. There are a total of 10 copies of such a star map, and 1 copy is kept in each fortress. After this incident, the care of the military star map will definitely be greatly strengthened. Most likely, it will be guarded by the head of the Legion himself. As Zhu Qiwu said, this kind of thing can only happen once at most. The teleportation array in Fort 1 flashed bright light, and Lin Moyu walked out of the teleportation array. Zhu Qiwu still has something to deal with, so let him go back first. As for the two tasks, Renwang Network will settle the settlement, and he only needs to wait quietly in the number 1 fortress. Zhu Qiwu also gave a special reminder not to leave Fort 1 until receiving the mission settlement information. Because this task is a bit special and involves a lot of people, it will take some time to settle. It happened that Lin Moyu also had something to do in Fort 1. He was going to the trading center to sell the materials on his body. I made an agreement with Yuju before, and let Yuju wait for me. As a result, Zhu Qiwu called him halfway, but he didn't have time to go there. Entering the trading center, Lin Moyu went straight to the central counter. At the counter, there was still the woman named Yuqing, and the other god King Lu was not here. The trading center seems to have a deep relationship with the Yu family, which should be a big family. Yu King and Yu Zhu are both members of the Yu family. As for the relationship between the two, Lin Moyu is not clear. And that Laoshan king. There was a smile on the corner of Lin Moyu's mouth. His information was leaked out, and it was the King Laoshan who did it. This matter was done very poorly. But Zhu Qiwu said that he would not deal with the Lord Lu. This kind of almost fool-like guy is useful to keep. When Lin Moyu came to the counter, Yuqing's eyes lit up. Mr. Lin, you are here. The trading room has been prepared for you. Miss Xu is waiting for you. Lin Moyu nodded. Take me there. Yuqing immediately called the staff to guide Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu got some information from Yuqing's words. She called herself Mr. Lin, and she called herself very naturally. She knew herself well, but she couldn't call herself Mr. Lin. Mr. is a kind of respectful title, which is only used for people with high status, and has nothing to do with the realm of cultivation. This is enough to show that in Yuqing's eyes, his status is noble. Coupled with the Miss Bamboo in her mouth, Lin Moyu strung things together quite normally. Yuju is a young lady, and her status in Yuju's family should not be low. And Yuqing is also a member of the Yu family, obviously inferior to Yuju. Calling myself Mr. Lin should also be the inspiration of Yuju. Once again, I came to the backyard full of birds and flowers, full of artistic conception. Quaint and charming gazebos are scattered in the backyard in an orderly manner. Most of the gazebos are covered by formations, and transactions are in progress. Lin Moyu came to a gazebo, but the formation of the gazebo was not opened. Yuju sat gracefully in the gazebo, making fragrant tea. The tea fragrance slowly floats out of the herbal tea and gradually dissipates. Just one sip, Lin Moyu knew it was iced tea from the ice tribe. This kind of tea, as long as you drink it once, you will never forget it. Seeing Lin Moyu, Yuju's eyes lit up, a flash of joy flashed across her face, and she joked, Captain, the doctor's appointment is due. Polygonatum odoratum exudes a slightly mature charm. When I met for the first time, I thought Polygonatum odoratum had a good temperament, mature and playful. But after seeing Aunt Chu, I realized that Yuju was actually imitating Aunt Chu. Lin Moyu entered the gazebo, the formation was opened, and the interior of the gazebo became an independent small world. Lin Moyu sat down and Yuju poured tea for Lin Moyu correctly. The cold and clear tea entered the mouth and exploded in the throat, and an indescribable coolness swept over the whole body. Lin Moyu put down the teacup and smiled. You don't need to imitate Aunt Chu, everyone has their own temperament. If you imitate a lot, you won't look like yourself. Yuju smiled delicately. Then which temperament do you think I have better? At this time, the mature breath receded slightly, and the 3-point playfulness became 6 points. Lin Moyu said casually, it's all good, just be yourself. Seeing Lin Moyu's serious appearance, Yuju put away her smile. The captain really has no sense of humor. Lin Moyu asked, did you wait for these 2 days? Isn't that right? Who told the captain not to keep his promise, but he is very good at keeping his promise. Yuju said softly, her eyes fluttered, and there was a trace of resentment. Yuju is very beautiful, and her beautiful eyes are as bright as stars. At this time, her temperament is less mature, more playful, and more enchanting. It's hard to imagine how one person can display multiple temperaments at the same time. But I have to say that Yuju at this time is very attractive. Lin Moyu's expression remained unchanged, ignoring the beauty of Polygonatum odoratum, and his tone was calm and unwavering. Suddenly there is something urgent, let's deal with it, let's make a transaction, this time the transaction volume is very large. Seeing this, Yuzhu felt a little disappointed, and gradually put away her smile. Okay, I'll call a few more sisters over. Lin Moyu said that the trading volume is large, and it is definitely not just talking, but the real trading volume. It's not like some people who say they want a large number of things to sell, but they end up with a bunch of scattered items. Soon, 4 women from the trading room entered the gazebo one by one. They were all old acquaintances, and they were the 4 who made the valuation together last time. After the 4 came in, they sat down quietly without saying a word. However, it can be seen from their eyes that the status of the 4 is not as good as Yuzhu, and the 4 are led by Yuzhu. Yuzhu said softly, "Captain, you can start now." Lin Moyu nodded and took out the recently obtained loot. 1 piece of storage magic weapon, a large variety of materials. Most of them are from the Shuojin area. In that rescue operation, Lin Moyu obtained a large amount of Shuojin and storage utensils, so much that Lin Moyu himself could not count them. Originally, in this mission, more materials could be obtained. Lin Moyu was in a hurry, so he didn't clean the battlefield carefully, and finally the black hole snake ancestor reappeared and swallowed everything, not even a single hair was left. As a result, Lin Moyu's income dropped sharply. Even so, Lin Moyu's harvest is amazing enough. Yuzhu and other 5 traders were completely busy and went all out for valuation. Lin Moyu poured tea for himself, was self-sufficient, and waited quietly. After a batch of goods has been counted, Lin Moyu will take out another batch. Time passed little by little, 1 hour, 2 hours, and the counting was far from over. Yuzhu's beautiful eyes stared at Lin Moyu from time to time. She was almost exhausted from counting, but Lin Moyu was there, drinking tea comfortably. After a full 10 hours, I finally counted all the items. The 4 traders retreated one by one. From the time they came in to the time they left, they didn't say a word. Yuzhu has already got the final number of the goods. It's finally done. Yuzhu sighed and glared at Lin Moyu again, with reproach in his eyes. Lin Moyu smiled slightly and poured tea for Yuzhu. Don't worry, there are still a few things. Yuzhu drank the tea made by Lin Moyu herself, and asked casually, what else? Why didn't you say it just now? Lin Moyu smiled, there are not many things, only one kind. What? The devil warship. Puff. Yuzhu almost spit out the water from her mouth. Her small face was full of surprise. Devil warship. Lin Moyu nodded. Yes, the demon warship. Demon warships are the same as human warships. It is very troublesome to refine, and the materials used are extremely precious. God-level demon warships are also made of God-level materials, and the quantity is huge. Although the human race cannot use the demon warship, they can dismantle the demon warship, remake it, and obtain a lot of precious materials. So the demon warship is very valuable. Anyway, Yuzhu was speechless to Lin Moyu. There are very few demon warships that can be captured, and usually only a little will appear in a big battle. If it is a god-level demon warship without any major damage, each ship is worth 10 million points. So low. The price is somewhat different from Lin Moyu's estimate. He estimated that a demon warship would be worth at least 30 million points. Yuzhu explained, we need to dismantle the demon warship and rebuild it. The whole process will cause wear and tear, and it is time-consuming and labor-intensive. The quality of the demon warships is not as high as that of human warships of the same level, and the price cannot be compared with human warships. So on a comprehensive basis, 10 million points is a fair price. Lin Moyu didn't struggle too much. Okay, let's count with 10 million points. I have 4 ships here. Yuzhu was speechless for a while, and said instinctively, how did you get so many? Lin Moyu got 3 ships in the Shuojin area, and got another one for this mission. If it wasn't for the rush, Lin Moyu might be able to get hundreds of ships, but unfortunately they all went into the stomach of the black hole snake ancestor, and nothing was left. 4 demon warships were exchanged for 40 million points. All the previous materials, counted together, are worth 90 million points. Lin Moyu's single transaction directly exceeded 100 million, reaching 130 million points. Yuzhu's eyes glowed, and she looked at Lin Moyu like a local tyrant. A lot of points. Those senior god kings who have been in the battlefield for hundreds of years don't have as many points as you. No, even if they are in the state of gods, they don't necessarily have more points. There are so many points. With 130 million points, you can get 13,000 points of military merit. Counting the previous military merit points, Lin Moyu's points have reached 200 million, and military merits have exceeded 30,000. However, for the 13,000 military merit he obtained, he still needs to go through the formalities at the military merit office before he can get it. You won't have any trouble as Lin Moyu's honorable soldier. Now that he is a big celebrity, no matter whether it is the Legion commander or the elders in the number 1 fortress, they will not trouble him. Meng Gang, who is in charge of the military merit department, used to be his subordinate, so he would not embarrass Lin Moyu. The light in Yuju's eyes became brighter and brighter. It's very rare for a non-commissioned officer to reach the true god level. Captain, you are really awesome. She didn't know how much military merit Lin Moyu had, but he was definitely more than a first-rank non-commissioned officer. At least he was also a second-rank non-commissioned officer. Lin Moyu smiled slightly, and didn't care about it. The military merits to him were more of a symbol. What he values is the improvement of his own strength, as well as the evaluation of the serial missions. The same is true for points. Now the points exceed 200 million, and you can buy a lot of things. However, 940 Lin Moyu doesn't like those regular items in the trading center. Lin Moyu took a sip of tea and said, I want to ask you to buy something. The moment Yuju heard this, she became energetic. As a trader, what she likes most is trading. Buying or selling is a transaction. Yuju's eyes were shining, and she bit her jade lip. She knew that what Lin Moyu wanted to buy would definitely not be ordinary items. Whatever you want to buy, this girl has everything here. Lin Moyu said, high-grade elemental materials require a single element and contain laws. The higher the material grade, the better. Yuju asked, how about the quantity? 1 serving of each ingredient is fine. Are there any specific requirements for the type of element? Lin Moyu thought for a while. There is no specific requirement, but it is best to use a single element material that contains powerful laws. Element is single, and it contains law. The higher the grade, the better, and the stronger the law, the better. Yuju repeated, and wrote down Lin Moyu's request. At this time, Lin Moyu took out another large pile of black stones, which were all the black stones he got in the mission this time. These black holes contain the law of black holes, which can be regarded as a top-notch material. It's just that the purity is not enough, and the grade is only the God King level, which does not meet Lin Moyu's requirements. Lin Moyu said, please find someone to help me purify these black stones. The higher the purity, the better. As he spoke, Lin Moyu put the black stone into an empty storage ring and handed it to Yuju. Yuju took the storage ring and agreed, no problem, just leave it to me. Lin Moyu paid 100 million points to Yuju, which is regarded as a deposit. If not enough, ask him again. As long as the total limit is within 200 million. Yuju didn't expect Lin Moyu to trust herself so much, and she gave 100 million points as she said, without even asking for any certificates. Yuju patted her chest and promised loudly that she would definitely help Lin Moyu find suitable materials. The whole process may take a little time. Contact Lin Moyu when you find it. Lin Moyu knew that the materials he asked for were hard to find, and 9 out of 10 he had to start with the army. In fact, he himself can use military merit to exchange for it, but he doesn't want to use military merit. Military merit is not as easy to earn as points, and if you use it, you will lose your rank. The use of points does not affect the elevation of privileges. So he can use the points as much as possible. He got the points too easily, and he didn't feel distressed at all when using them. After leaving the trading center, Lin Moyu went directly to the military office. I was thinking about what I entrusted Yuju to do this time, and I didn't know what kind of materials Yuju could find for me. I hope there are god-level materials. Looking for materials this time, what Lin Moyu wants to enhance is his elemental lich. The elemental lich technique has now become the weakest part of all his techniques. The improvement of the realm has little effect on enhancing the magic of the elemental lich. If you want to obtain a powerful elemental lich, you can only use high-level materials. When I was awakening the spell, I saw a demonstration of the spell. The elemental lich is very powerful, but I haven't been able to exert its strength yet. Even the auxiliary functions are becoming more and more tasteless. The black stone this time is also a good material, containing the law of black holes. It's just a single black stone, the number of black hole laws is too small, and it needs to be purified and refined. He gave Yuju all the about 1,000 black stones he got this time, and asked her to find someone to purify and refine the black stones and fuse them into one piece. He should be able to get a good quality material for summoning the elemental lich. It is true that Lin Moyu also knows that he is very strong, far beyond the so-called genius. But who doesn't want to become stronger? Especially after seeing the existence in the black hole this time, Lin Moyu realized that he was really weak. In case of his death, what should the 4 wives in the sleeping coffin do? They may never have a chance to wake up in this lifetime. No matter what the reason is, he must continue to become stronger, so strong that no one can kill him, and strong enough to change his fate against the sky. With thoughts flying, Lin Moyu came to the military merit department. This time, I did not see Meng Gang in front of the counter where points were exchanged for military merit. As the person in charge of the military merit department, Meng Gang was fined to deal with specific affairs because he made a mistake last time. Later, after completing the task and paying off the merits, he was reinstated as an official and re-managed the military merit department. There are old acquaintances in front of the counter, and Rongji is sitting there, dealing with the redemption of military points for others. Lin Moyu waited for a while, and then stepped over when it was his turn. Seeing Lin Moyu, Rongji immediately jumped up from his seat, stood straight and saluted Lin Moyu, and shouted loudly, "Captain is good tilde." During a mission, Rongji has already convinced Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "Don't be so excited, I sold something and exchanged points." As he spoke, he handed over the battlefield token. Rongye took it respectfully with both hands, holding Lin Moyu's battlefield token as if holding some treasure. "Captain, please wait a moment, this will be handled for you." Lin Moyu smiled. "Don't worry, take your time." Rongji's unusual reaction also attracted the attention of many people. As for soldiers, although they would not look down on ordinary practitioners, they would never be so polite to ordinary practitioners. Soldiers usually look serious and act impartially, and it is rare to see them smiling. Most people think that the Chinese should be like this. But seeing Rongji now, he found that this was not the case at all. Anyone who is not a fool can know that this is all because of the different identities of the young man in front of him. Fortress number 1 is crowded with people. Although Lin Moyu is well known, not everyone knows him. Many people are speculating on Lin Moyu's identity. Who is this? Could it be the descendant of a certain boss? It can't be the illegitimate son of a certain elder. It's hard to say that he is a descendant of the Legion commander. Everyone used their imaginations, thinking more and more. Lin Moyu felt a little helpless, but he didn't care. What people pay attention to. Just like the brightest star in the sky, when people look up at the sky, the first thing they see is always the brightest one. Rongji moved quickly to verify Lin Moyu. The origin of Lin Moyu's Jiling is very clear, there will be no problems. Soon the military achievements were accumulated, and Rongji handed back the battlefield token to Lin Moyu, a little embarrassed. "Captain, I'm sorry." Lin Moyu knew what he meant. If it wasn't for his abnormality, he wouldn't be so eye-catching. Patting Rongji on the shoulder, "It's okay, practice hard, and we will do missions together when we have a chance." Rongji nodded vigorously, showing a smile. "Good captain." Lin Moyu checked his military merits, and the military merits have reached 35,676. He is already a third-rank non-commissioned officer. At this time, the rewards for the 2 missions have not yet come down, and the special mission will reward 10,000 military merit, 1 contribution point, and 1 military supply point. When the special reward comes down, he can become a 4th-rank non-commissioned officer. This kind of promotion speed is afraid that other soldiers dare not think about it. But this is not the main reward. The most important rewards are contribution points and military supply points. The role of contribution points has not been fully reflected, and it is estimated that it will not be useful for the time being. But Lin Moyu has already understood the function of the military supply point. He can open the military supply warehouse and choose an item with the same level as himself. For this reason, it cannot be used now. Now my realm level is too low, only the real God realm, and I can't exchange for good things. Lin Moyu felt that he had to wait for himself to reach the God Venerable before choosing and exchanging for the treasures of the God Venerable realm. It is too difficult to earn military supply points, and I don't know if I can earn them in the future, so this kind of opportunity should not be wasted. When Lin Moyu left the military merit office, the discussion about him hadn't stopped. At this time, a few people entered the military merit office, passing Lin Moyu just in time. One of them looked at the background of Lin Moyu's disappearance, and said with a little surprise, "Hey, yes, it's him." Immediately someone beside him asked, "Do you know him?" Lin Moyu, the number 1 in the potential list, the only person who has won the honorary title of the military in 100 years, how could you not know him? The man was a little proud, as if he was talking about himself. His words immediately caused an uproar. He is Lin Moyu. No. 1 on the potential list, number 2 on the contribution list, and number 10 on the combat power list. In the past century, he is the only winner of the honorary title. Hey, it turns out to be such an awesome guy, which is much more awesome than the younger generation of some big boss. No wonder I thought he had an extraordinary temperament just now, but it turned out to be him. Lin Moyu's reputation is indeed great, and many people present have heard of it. The news of Lin Moyu's appearance in Fort 1 was immediately spread. In the hotel in the leisure area of Fort 1, Zhang Ziyu is enjoying the unique food on the battlefield. He suddenly received a message from his friend, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Lin Moyu finally appeared. The news of Lin Moyu's appearance in Fort No. 1 spread like wildfire, like a stellar wind, blowing across the entire fort in a blink of an eye. Many people heard the news and left, wanting to see this top talent who had just emerged. In the restaurant where Zhang Ziyu was dining, several people slowly got up, with a strong fighting spirit erupting from their bodies. The aura of God King realm permeated the restaurant, attracting the attention of many people. What happened? What are these people going to do? Could it be that they want to do something in the restaurant? Several cultivators of the true God realm were shocked by the breath of the God King realm, and their faces turned pale. Zhang Ziyu looked at a few of them. He knew them all, and they were all top 30 strongmen in the combat power list. Zhang Ziyu thinks very highly of himself, even a little pretentious. He believes that he can become a god, or even surpass a god. He comes from a big family, knows a lot of information that outsiders don't know, and knows that God is not the end. At the same time, he also believes that one day, sooner or later, he can become the number 1 in the 3 rankings. So he was not in a hurry to go to the mission to increase his authority. For him, the first thing to improve was the realm and combat power. Only in this way could he become the first in the 3 rankings. In the eyes of outsiders, Zhang Ziyu is very conceited and proud, but his head is actually very clear. He knew that no matter how talented he was still much worse than those seniors on the combat power list. He is only at the 9th level of a true god, and he can fight against the 1st level of a god king at most. But those people on the combat power list are at least the 3rd level strength of the God King. The top 30,890 is at least the strength of the 4th and 5th ranks of God Kings. As for the top 10, each one can leapfrog the competition, and each one is a genius. They may be in the 4th or 5th rank of the God King, and their combat power may have reached the 6th or 7th rank of the God King. This kind of person is not something he can provoke yet. Zhang Ziyu is very clear-headed and has a clear plan for his own path forward. He waited for these people to be promoted to the 5th level authority and leave the Vermilion Bird Starfield combat power list. Wait for your realm to improve, and then do some tasks to improve your contribution. At that time, even if he can't become the 1st in the 3 rankings, he will at least be the 1st in the 2 rankings. Until Lin Moyu appeared, completely disrupting his plan. That's why he was so angry at that time, lost his mind in anger and challenged Lin Moyu directly. Later, he gradually calmed down and realized that he should not initiate a challenge. He didn't know anything about Lin Moyu, so how could he rashly initiate a challenge? Fortunately, Lin Moyu didn't pick it up, otherwise, with Lin Moyu's strength, he would have made trouble for himself. Later, Lin Moyu broke into the top 10 of the combat power list and ranked 2nd in the contribution list, which made him realize that it was impossible to challenge Lin Moyu. Moreover, Lin Moyu is full of mystery. He doesn't even know Lin Moyu's specific cultivation level. But he guessed that Lin Moyu should be around the 3rd level of the God King, and then he has the ability to leapfrog to fight, and his actual combat power is about the 5th level of the God King. This time he came to Fortress No. 1, he also wanted to meet Lin Moyu with his own eyes and see how divine he is, so he had a good idea. At the same time, he also got the news that many people in the top 30 of the combat power list refused to accept Lin Moyu, the parachutist, and wanted to challenge Lin Moyu. Sometimes Renwang network is not completely correct. Being a genius naturally has the arrogance of a genius. Lin Moyu appeared, and someone left the restaurant immediately to find Lin Moyu. Zhang Ziyu took his time and followed him away. Along the way, Lin Moyu met many people who knew him well, and it was inevitable that there would be discussions. Lin Moyu didn't care about this, he could feel that the power of belief was coming together. The more famous he is, the more power of faith he gets. The power of faith is useful, as far as we know, enough power of faith can speed up the comprehension of the law. This alone is enough to make people flock to it. Walking into the task center, Lin Moyu looked at the tasks to see which task would be more suitable for him to do next. He has actually only completed 3 official battlefield missions now. The first is to collect Stellar Fine Fire, the second is to collect Shuojin, and the third is to stop the demon army just completed. However, the reward for the third task has not been issued yet, so it is not officially completed. Rank promotion missions and special missions should not belong to battlefield missions. Renwang Network does not know how to play word games, does it? It does not. Before the task reward is issued, he cannot accept new battlefield tasks. So now he just looks around, finds a suitable task first, and waits for the reward to be issued before accepting it. Of the 5 battlefield missions, 3 have been completed, and the scores should all be perfect. The next 2 tasks will definitely be completed perfectly. Lin Moyu is confident about it. Accumulating military merit is not a problem. His military merit has surpassed many soldiers of the 5th and 6th ranks of the God King. The most troublesome thing for Lin Moyu is another task, killing the top 10 people on the reward list. It's not that it can't be killed, but that it can't be found. These people are elusive and hard to find. Lin Moyu flipped through the tasks while thinking. I finally found a suitable mission, and now I can accept the new mission only after the previous battlefield mission is over. Lin Moyu gave up the mission table and handed it over to others. There are a lot of people in the mission center, and everyone is queuing up to use the mission table. Suddenly, a wave of people flooded into the mission center. The few people who walked in the front exuded a strong aura of God King realm. As soon as they came in, their eyes searched the mission center, as if they were looking for someone. The God King's gaze was very sharp, and he swept across the entire mission center in a blink of an eye, and finally fixed on Lin Moyu. Come to find me. Lin Moyu also looked at them at the same time, and from them, Lin Moyu felt the breath from the human star field. The breath of the battlefield is different from the breath of ordinary star fields. The breath of ordinary star fields is calm and stable, while the breath of the battlefield is relatively mixed. After people enter the battlefield from an ordinary star field, within a certain period of time, there will still be a peaceful and stable atmosphere in the ordinary star field. This breath will gradually be covered by the breath of the battlefield, and eventually disappear. This time is about 10 days. In other words, these people came to the battlefield within 10 days. From the looks of it, he came here specially to find him. Lin Moyu quickly made an analysis and judgment. As for what to do with him, Lin Moyu can probably guess 1, 2, 3. It's nothing more than being unconvinced with his ranking and coming to challenge. Whether it is the potential list or the combat power list, there are similar rules. The potential list can be challenged in the same realm. Under the witness of Renwang Network, whoever has the strongest combat power in the same realm will naturally have stronger potential. The combat power list is completely free to fight, without too many restrictions. It's just that no matter what kind of challenge, you can't use props such as magic weapons, and you only rely on your own combat power. Both challenges are carried out in the Renwang Network, and there will be no danger to life. Lin Moyu naturally understands the purpose of Renwang Network's regulations. Needless to say, the potential list, in the same realm, whoever has the strongest ability has the greatest potential. The same is true for the battle list. Renwang Network has never said that it will not make mistakes, so it has a challenge mechanism. If you are dissatisfied with the list, then you can challenge it, as long as you can pay the price. Are you Lin Moyu? A burly man over 2 meters tall glared at Lin Moyu. His gaze seemed fierce, but he had no killing intent. They are just here to challenge, not to fight. Lin Moyu made a further analysis from his eyes. He was a bit irritable, and impatient. There were 7 or 8 people who came in together. No one else spoke, but he did. Lin Moyu glanced at him, and we went out to talk. Quote. As he spoke, Lin Moyu walked around him in a few steps and quickly left the mission center. There are too many people in the task center, and Lin Moyu doesn't want to affect others. Leaving the mission center, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. Although there are still many people, it is much better than before. 7 or 8 people also left with Lin Moyu, and the same big man asked, "Are you Lin Moyu?" This person is not only irritable and impatient, but also brainless. Lin Moyu also doesn't know how this kind of person has cultivated to the state of God King. How can he comprehend the law like this? Lin Moyu said in a low voice, "Keep your voice down, don't disturb others." You. The big man's face changed suddenly, and red light appeared in his eyes, as if he was about to have an attack. At this time, a palm was pressed on the big man's shoulder, and a man who was slightly shorter than the big man said, "Hood, calm down first, let me tell you." A burst of laws surged, and Lin Moyu felt a chill hit his face. A layer of ice emerged from the palm that patted the big man's shoulder, and the surface of the big man's body was immediately covered with ice, which made the big man calm down. The law of the water system is very ingenious and can be controlled in a subtle way. It can calm down the big man without causing any harm to the big man. The tall and thin man said, "We won't introduce ourselves, you will know after reading our information." As they spoke, several people let go of their hidden information, showing their names and realm levels. The irascible man is called Hood, the 4th rank of God King. The tall, thin man who controls the laws of the water system is called Han Yu, and he is also the 4th rank of God King. There are also a few other people, all of whom are around the 3rd to 4th ranks of God Kings. Lin Moyu has seen the names of these people on the power list, and as he guessed, he really came to find his own challenge. Han Yu said, "I'm sorry, Hood was once in cultivation, and his soul was infected by the law of fire, so his temper was a bit grumpy, but he was not malicious." Lin Moyu nodded, read out. Hood has a bad temper, but there is no killing intent in his eyes. Lin Moyu can naturally feel it. Han Yu smiled slightly. "You should have already guessed why we came looking for you." Lin Moyu could tell that Han Yu was calm and smart, and belonged to the same type of person as himself. It is not surprising that Han Yu can tell that he has already guessed their intentions. Lin Moyu said, "Is it the challenge of the potential list, not the challenge of the combat power list? It's easy to talk to smart people, and it's better to be straightforward, without beating around the bush." Han Yu smiled, "Anything is fine." Lin Moyu nodded, "Me too, but I have conditions." Han Yu was not surprised, and smiled slightly. "The fee is easy to talk about. As long as Lin Moyu agrees, he will do it in another business district. Then let's go to the arena." Lin Moyu turned and walked towards the military arena. There are only 3 ways to challenge. The first is to enter the real arena and connect to Renwang Network. The second is to initiate a challenge on Renwang Network. After both parties agree, Renwang Network will make corresponding arrangements. The third is to use challenge cards, which need to be used in places covered by Renwang's network. But the challenge card is extremely rare, and generally it is not necessary to use it. The second type is often ignored by people. "If you challenge me, I will talk to you. Just dream." The first is the best way. Find someone in reality, negotiate the cost, and then go to the real arena together, and enter the Renwang Network through the arena. The challenger initiates a challenge and needs to pay the challenged party a corresponding fee. The amount of the fee can be negotiated by both parties, and is usually paid in the form of points. The conversation between the few people was not deliberately concealed, and everyone nearby heard the news. As the veteran powerhouses on the combat power list, Hood and others have already been checked by others while releasing the information. In the twinkling of an eye, Lin Moyu's information was challenged by a veteran player on the combat power list, and the entire Starry Sky Fortress was once again scraped. A large number of troublemakers rushed to the military arena, wanting to watch this challenge. The challenge in the arena is public, and you can watch it as long as you buy a ticket. The price of the ticket is determined by Renwang Network, and the price is clearly marked, so that no one can deceive anyone. Pay if you want to see it, leave if you don't want to see it, you are not forced to watch it. The challenge of the top players in the combat power list will naturally attract the attention of many people. In the blink of an eye, the identity of the challenger has also been passed on. A total of 8 people came to challenge Lin Moyu this time. The leader among them is Han Yu, who ranks 12th in the combat power list. Before Lin Moyu appeared, he was ranked 11th, because Lin Moyu slipped 1 place. The second is Huo De. Huo De was originally ranked 10th in the combat power list, but now because of Lin Moyu's parachute, he has become 11th, so he is the most unconvinced by Lin Moyu. The remaining 6 people are basically the top ones on the combat power list, and the worst one is ranked 25th on the combat power list, which was originally ranked 24th. Without exception, these people are all veterans who have been on the combat power list for many years, and possess combat power beyond their own realm. Asking for flowers. And the combat experience is extremely rich, and they are invincible in the same realm. For Lin Moyu who came by air, they will naturally not be convinced. Combat does not only depend on realm, but also on experience. A few came to the outside of the ring arena. At this time, the outside of the military arena was already full of people. The arrival of Lin Moyu and his group immediately attracted everyone's attention. Lin Moyu stopped in front of the arena. Let's go to the battle match. Han Yu smiled slightly. It should be, after all, we initiated the challenge, and the challenge fee is up to you. Lin Moyu shook his head. Go ahead, I'm afraid I'm driving too high and you can't accept it. Han Yu thought for a while. After all, we are all on the combat power list. If the challenge fee is low, it will make people laugh if it spreads. How about this, we each give out 1 million points, no matter whether we win or lose, the points are yours of. 1 million points is not too small for most practitioners. Even if it is a god king, it is also a huge sum of money. Just like what Han Yu said, they are not ordinary god kings, but the strong ones on the combat power list. If the challenge fee is low, it will really lose face. It's just that they don't know that to Lin Moyu, 1 million points is really nothing. He just gave Yuju 100 million points as a deposit, and the 8 people added up to only 8 million points, not even a tenth of the deposit. Lin Moyu frowned slightly, but didn't immediately agree. Huoda's temper flared up again, and he let out a low growl, but before he could speak, Han Yu had already slapped him on the body. A layer of frost emerged, forcibly suppressing Huoda's violent temper. Han Yu asked, Brother Lin, do you have any different opinions? Lin Moyu thought for a while. Well, let's change the rules. I don't want your challenge fee, let's bet points instead. Han Yu's eyes flashed. He seemed a little surprised, and asked, what kind of bet is it? Lin Moyu said, just bet on my points. If I lose, I will give half of my points to the winner. If any of you loses, you will pay me points. The amount is 10% of my points. 1. A few people quickly calculated in their hearts, this bet seems a bit strange. Han Yu understood Lin Moyu's intention as soon as he heard it. It seems that Brother Lin has a lot of points. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. It's okay.